Welcome to my coding school. Let's continue with CSS. So in this video, we are going to start by adding a few elements here. So a paragraph with paragraph 1, and then I'll copy this down, and then I'll add in a class called error, and then another class called access, like this. And now save. Now we have paragraph 1 and then paragraph 2. So what I'll do is I'll come in the CSS, and then I'll select the class with error, and then what I want to do is I want to set the color of the text to red, and then if I save that, the text is now red. And then for success, I use the dot and then the class name, which is success, and then the decoration block, and then I'll set the color to green, like this. And now we have this to green, so I'm using the class selector. And if I wanted to style more elements with the same class, I'll simply copy this. I'll give it the same class, and then this I'll give it error message, error message, like so. And then if I save, I'll still have this with red, and then this because they have the same class. And then if I want to select all elements on the page, I can simply use this symbol and then the decoration block. And then what I'll do, I'll change the padding to 10 pixel. And then if I save, you'll see now that the elements have a spacing, all of them, the H1, and then the paragraph 1, and then this other paragraph, and then all of this, they have all been affected because I've used the universal selector to select all of the elements. I'll comment this, and then we have already seen the type selector, which selects an element. So here, if I have a paragraph, add in some junk text, then I save, it will be below here. And then what I'll do is I'll come to the CSS, I'll get the paragraph, which is the element type, and then I'll set the color to maroon, like this. And then now color is maroon. So this is the class, and then the universal selector, and then the type element selector, and then we shall get to the ID. So here I have a div with an ID of, let's say, card, and then here I simply have hello as the content. And then when I come to the CSS, I'll use the hash and then the ID here, which is card, like this, the decoration block, and then the property. For this one, I'll simply get the font size, and then I'll set it to large. Then I can get a more bigger value, extra large. Then you'll see now that I've selected and this div by its ID. And then moving on, we have advanced selectors. For example, descendant combinator. So here I can have a list like this. Then I can have li items, and then inside here I can have an anchor tag, I'll simply put in this because it goes nowhere, and then maybe home, and then I'll copy this, then I'll change this to about, and then this to contact. So if I save, we now have here a simple navigation bar that is vertical. So what I can do is I can come into the CSS, I'll get the list item, and then inside I'll get the link, and then what I'll do is I'll get the text decoration, which is a property, and then I set it to none. So what this will do is we are going to get the anchor tags that are inside the list items, and then we are going to remove the underline and then set it to none, and this is what it will do. So this is a descendant combinator, and then we have the next sibling. You can also research about that on the MDN docs. So these are the some of the ways that we can use select elements and apply styles to them. So let's continue with the common properties that we can use. So here I'll create another div, and then I'll give it a class of elegant, an ID of elegant, and then what I'll do is I'll put in this text, save, and then we have the text here. So I'll get that element by the ID elegant, and then what I'll do is I'll get the background color, and then I can use the hash, then set it to 00 FF, and then 00, and then this will set it to green. So these are called hexadecimal values. The highest are being F, and then the lowest are being 0. So here, this is in this form, hash, and then we have red, we have blue, and then green. So here, if I change this to FF, all of it, FF, and then 2 more, you'll see that now we shall have white as the background. But if I change all of this to blue, I mean to 0, you'll see now that the background is black. So this is how we use this X values, and then I can use hash, and then I give it a 33, and then this will give me a shade of gray, and then we can also use RGB. So RGB like this, and then one value is for red, the other is for green, then the other is for blue. So instead here we have values that range from 0 to 255. So here if I put in 0, and then I put in here 255, and then I put in here 0, this will give me green, because this I've set them to their lowest, and then this to its highest, it's 255, like this. If I set this to 0, this will be black. If I set them to their highest, 255, and then this to 255, and then if I save, that's another color. But if I set this to also 255, this will become white. So this is how we use RGB. And then with that, I want to go to text styling. So here I'll get this paragraph, I'll give it an ID called rem, and then I'll come into the CSS, and then I'll start applying some text to the IDs rem, and then the education block. So I'll start by changing the font style. So here the editor will give me some of the cells that we have, set it to italic, and then you'll see that now it is in all italic. And then I can set the font family. So here, VS Code will give me some of the common fonts that we have. So if I set it to this, it will get the default, which is Franklin Gothic medium. But then if this isn't available, then Arial will be used for these other ones in case this is not available. So if I save now, you'll see that the text has a different font. And then we can also apply the font weight. So here, font weight, if I give it 100, you'll see now that it's a little bit bigger. So we are going to start from there the next video.